The Galactic Peacekeeping Initiative, or GPI as the bureaucratically inclined aliens love to abbreviate it, was founded on principles of mutual understanding, diplomatic goodwill, and the absolutely unshakable belief that most species in the universe were reasonably similar in temperament and physiology. This assumption had worked perfectly fine for the 247 member species across 12 galactic arms right up until they encountered humans. Earth's admission to the Interstellar Alliance was still making headlines across the galaxy, not because humans had achieved faster than light travel, they hadn't. The Alliance had simply gotten tired of them shooting probes at everything and broadcasting endless reruns of Friends into space. It was either invite them in or listen to Ross and Rachel's relationship drama for another millennium. Commander Vex Thor of the Klaxian Empire leaned back in his command chair and massaged his 3 temples with his upper appendages. His lower appendages were busy signing digitized forms authorizing yet another peacekeeping tour, this time to the backwater planet that was causing so much commotion. Of all the assignments in all the galaxy, he grumbled to his executive officer, "Why did they give me Earth?" Officer Trillium, whose species communicated primarily through color changes, turned a sympathetic shade of mauve. "The High Council believes your experience with volatile species makes you uniquely qualified, sir." Volatile? I dealt with the Zarbonians. They explode when they sneeze. These humans just seem unnecessarily complicated. The briefing materials on humans read like badly written fiction. A Class 12 Death World environment, though humans insisted on calling it pleasant and habitable, endoskeletal bipeds with redundant organs, and an absurd tolerance to toxins they willingly ingested for pleasure. Vex Thor had dismissed half the report as exaggeration. No evolved species would voluntarily consume ethanol or capsaicin, substances specifically evolved to deter consumption. Most concerning were the cultural briefings. Humans apparently settled disagreements through elaborate verbal jousting they called sarcasm, and had over 7,000 distinct languages, despite having achieved planetary unification. Their concept of personal space varied wildly depending on geographic location, time of day, and something called whether they like you or not. "This whole assignment is a diplomatic minefield," Vex Thor muttered, his skin shifting to a stressed orange. "And they've assigned Officer Krill to the diplomatic team. The same Krill who caused an interspecies incident by telling a Flavorian ambassador their gravitational stabilizer made them look fat." Trillium rippled an apologetic blue. "The Council felt the delegation should include diverse temperaments, sir." "Diverse temperaments. Right." Vex Thor signed the final authorization with a dramatic flourish. "Well, what's the worst that could happen? It's not like we're dealing with the Glaxnor Horde." The irony of that statement would come back to haunt him approximately 72 Earth hours later. The GPI cruiser Harmonious Understanding descended through Earth's atmosphere with all the grace of a particularly elegant ballet dancer having a mild seizure. The landing coordinates directed them to what humans called suburban America, specifically the town of Maplewood, New Jersey, chosen for being statistically average according to Earth's representatives. Captain Jack Brenner waited on the landing pad, a man whose military posture contrasted sharply with his barely concealed excitement. As Earth's newly appointed interspecies relations officer, this was his first major assignment, and he was determined not to screw it up. "Welcome to Earth," Brenner announced as the alien delegation disembarked. "On behalf of humanity, I'm honored to." "Your atmosphere is unusually dense," interrupted Officer Krill, a tall, spindly creature whose species evolved in a low-gravity environment. He adjusted his personal gravitational stabilizer with obvious discomfort. "And why is everything so sticky?" "That's humidity," Brenner explained, smile never faltering. "Water vapor in the air. It's spring here." Commander Vex Thor stepped forward, his skin cycling through diplomatic shades of warm welcome. "Captain Brenner, thank you for your hospitality. Our delegation is eager to learn about human customs and demonstrate the benefits of Alliance membership." Brenner beamed. "We've arranged a comprehensive tour. Schools, shopping centers, municipal buildings, and even a baseball game. Pure Americana." "Baseball?" asked one of the junior officers, a gelatinous entity named Glob, whose translation device struggled with Earth idioms. "It's a sport. Very popular. You hit a ball with a stick and then run in a diamond shape. The aliens exchanged confused glances. Their cultural briefing had mentioned ritual combat, but nothing about geometric running patterns. The tour began in downtown Maplewood, where the alien delegation attracted exactly the kind of attention one might expect from a group of beings ranging from humanoid to sentient jello mold. Children pointed, adults pretended not to stare while obviously staring, and teenagers took an endless stream of selfies with the visitors. "Is that one wearing its digestive system on the outside?" whispered one particularly tactless onlooker as Glob undulated past. It was during their visit to Maplewood Elementary School that they first encountered Max Cooper, an 8-year-old boy whose curiosity vastly outweighed his sense of self-preservation. While other children kept a respectful distance, Max marched directly up to Officer Krill and stated with absolute certainty, "You look like my grandma's coat rack, but alive." Brenner's face went pale. "Max, that's not how we speak to interstellar delegates." Krill, however, seemed unfazed. "Interesting observation, small human. Your visual processing capabilities appear functional, if limited. You resemble a hairless primate with disproportionate cranial development." Max grinned. "Cool. Can you do any alien stuff, like laser eyes or mind reading?" "My species has 37 distinct sensory organs, none of which emit lasers or penetrate neural barriers," Krill responded. "However, I can detect atmospheric chemical compositions with precision sufficient to know you recently consumed a substance high in processed sugars and artificial colorants. You can smell my blue raspberry slushy from lunch? Awesome." Commander Vex Thor observed this exchange with increasing alarm. The human child showed no fear or deference, approaching alien life forms with casual disregard for protocol. Even more concerning, the child's guardian, presumably the educational facility supervisor, seemed to encourage this behavior. "Tomorrow's tour includes a visit to the local government facilities," Brenner explained as they departed. "And then the highlight, a formal reception with local dignitaries." "Splendid," muttered Vex Thor, watching Officer Krill attempt to explain exoskeletal molting to an increasingly fascinated Max Cooper. What could possibly go wrong? The next day's school visit was meant to be a simple cultural exchange. Alien visitors observe human education methods. Human children learn about galactic diversity. Everyone leaves slightly more enlightened, the operative word being meant. The Maplewood Elementary Gymnasium had been decorated with paper streamers in colors that, unfortunately for the Claxians, is translated roughly as imminent digestive distress and reproductive challenge. The Commander Vex Thor maintained his diplomatic composure, despite the chromatic assault on his senses. "Welcome, welcome," Principal Harriet Donovan gushed, pumping Vex Thor's upper right appendage with alarming enthusiasm. "The children have prepared a special presentation on Earth cultures." The presentation began innocuously enough, a parade of small humans in costumes representing Earth's various geographic regions, each reciting facts about their assigned culture with varying degrees of accuracy and enthusiasm. Officer Krill, positioned at the edge of the gathering, recorded the proceedings with scientific detachment. And then Max Cooper happened. Max was supposed to represent Australia, complete with a cork-festooned hat and a stuffed koala. Instead, he had decided that his costume needed alien upgrades and had attached what appeared to be aluminum foil antennae, multiple pipe cleaner limbs, and had painted himself entirely blue. "I'm a space Australian," he announced proudly when his turn came. "G-Day, mates. On my planet, we ride kangaroos to school and fight giant spiders for fun." Principal Donovan's smile became somewhat fixed. "Max, that wasn't the assignment. But it's better. I'm showing cultural fusion." The Officer Krill's recording device whirred as he stepped closer. The juvenile human appears to be engaging in mimicry behavior. Fascinating. "It's not mimicry," Max protested, turning to face Krill. "It's imagination. Don't you guys have imagination where you come from?" Krill's translation device struggled momentarily. Imagination. The faculty of forming mental images or concepts not present to the senses. He paused. "This is considered valuable among humans." Duh. "It's how we invent stuff. Like spaceships and pizza and..." Deception is valued? Krill interrupted, his tone shifting. You deliberately misrepresent reality, and this is encouraged. Max rolled his eyes with the dramatic flair only an 8-year-old can master. It's not lying, it's being creative. And that's when it happened. In Krill's culture, rolling one's visual organs was the most severe insult possible, equivalent to challenging someone's genetic lineage while simultaneously questioning their scientific credibility. His species' automatic response to such an affront was a ceremonial strike to the offender's knowledge center, or in human terms, a slap to the head. The sound of Krill's spindly appendage connecting with Max's skull echoed through the suddenly silent gymnasium. For one eternal second, nobody moved. The Commander Vex Thor's skin cycled through 17 shades of horrified recognition. Captain Brenner's jaw dropped so far it nearly dislocated. Principal Donovan clutched her clipboard like a shield. Then Max Cooper, 8-year-old diplomatic incident, did something completely unexpected. He laughed. That was awesome. He exclaimed, rubbing his head. Do all aliens high five with their faces? That's way cooler than how we do it. Krill, however, was already being tackled by security personnel who had materialized as if from nowhere. Diplomatic immunity or not, someone had struck a child. The gymnasium erupted into chaos. Parents screamed, children cheered, and Glob, ever sensitive to atmospheric tension, began stress oozing a defensive slime that smelled vaguely of cinnamon. And lockdown, bellowed Principal Donovan, triggering an alarm system that sealed the gym doors. Everyone remained calm. Calm, as it turned out, was not on the agenda. The video, because of course there was a video, went viral faster than an engineered super flu. Alien slaps child. First contact turns violent screamed headlines across Earth. The galactic diplomatic channels lit up like a supernova, with 17 species threatening to withdraw from the alliance if human barbarism had somehow provoked a Klaxion to violence. Commander Vex Thor sat in an improvised crisis center within the Earth Embassy, watching the incident replay on multiple screens from multiple angles. In each version, the outcome remained stubbornly identical. Officer Krill definitely smacked a human child. The Galactic Council is demanding an explanation, Captain Brenner reported, holding up his communication device. And Earth's social media has turned this into memes. Vex Thor squinted at the small screen Brenner held up, showing Officer Krill's face superimposed over various historical figures, all apparently engaged in slapping activities. Is this how humans typically respond to diplomatic incidents? Vex Thor asked, genuinely confused. It's how we cope, Brenner sighed. But the real issue is what happens next. Officer Krill is currently being held by local authorities, diplomatic immunity notwithstanding. The misunderstanding is clear, Vex Thor insisted. In Klaxion culture, the ocular rotation performed by the juvenile human constitutes a challenge to honor. Officer Krill responded with the mildest form of correction possible. You're saying you went easy on Max? The traditional response would involve ritualistic combat with ceremonial blades. Brenner pinched the bridge of his nose. That's not helpful information right now, Commander. The communication screen flickered, revealing the stern face of High Counselor Zephram of the Alliance Security Committee. The Commander Vex Thor, explain yourself immediately. The council chambers are in uproar. The Fluvian delegation is threatening to deploy their battle fleet. High Counselor, I assure you this is a simple cultural misunderstanding. Simple? The Counselor's face purpled impressively. An Alliance officer struck an immature specimen of a newly admitted species during a peacekeeping mission. The humans could interpret this as an act of war. Brenner coughed politely. Actually, Counselor, about that. A second screen activated, showing Max Cooper sitting in what appeared to be a television studio, wearing his blue alien costume minus the antennae, which had been bent during the incident. And then the tall stick guy just went whap, Max was saying, gesturing enthusiastically. It didn't even hurt. My sister hits harder when I take her stuff. I think aliens must have really weak arms. No offense to any aliens watching. The studio audience laughed appreciatively. So you're not traumatized? The interviewer asked. Are you kidding? I'm the first human kid to get slapped by an alien. I'm basically famous now. My YouTube channel already has like 1 million subscribers." Vex Thor's skin turned a confused taupe. The juvenile appears, pleased with the altercation. "Max has become an overnight celebrity," Brenner explained. "He's given 17 interviews in the past 6 hours. His parents have hired an agent." "This is most irregular," the High Counselor spluttered. "Your species rewards physical confrontation with fame." "Not usually," Brenner admitted, "but this is unprecedented territory, and technically no real harm was done. Our doctors examined Max and confirmed he didn't sustain any injury." This statement, seemingly innocuous, caught Vex Thor's attention. "No injury?" Officer Krill applied sufficient force to correct an adult Klaxion. "A juvenile of most species would suffer significant trauma." Brenner shrugged. "Kids are pretty resilient, and Max has 3 older brothers. According to his parents, he's taken worse falls off the jungle gym." Something shifted in Vex Thor's understanding, a recalibration of assumptions that would prove critical in the hours to come. The Emergency Scientific Council, convened aboard the Harmonious Understanding, had the muted panic of academics whose foundational theories were collapsing in real time. "The data cannot be correct," insisted Chief Xenobiologist Mira, her tentacles gesticulating wildly at the holographic display. "According to these readings, human epidermal tissue has tensile strength comparable to industrial polymers." Commander Vex Thor studied the comparative physiology charts with growing alarm. "And their skeletal density?" "Off our standard charts," confirmed Medical Officer Plex. "Their bones contain living tissue that constantly rebuilds itself. They fracture rather than shatter." The revelations continued, each more disturbing than the last. Humans operated on a diurnal cycle, despite evolving on a planet with extreme temperature variations. Their digestive systems could process substances toxic to 82% of known sentient species. Their pain response included a mechanism called endorphins that could, in crisis situations, allow them to ignore catastrophic injuries. "But the children?" Vex Thor pressed. "Surely juvenile humans are more fragile?" "That's just it," Mira replied, pulling up footage of human recreational activities. Human children engage in voluntary collision sports. They deliberately launch themselves down inclined surfaces at high velocities. Their entertainment includes simulated violence that would traumatize most species. The footage showed human children engaged in activities labeled football, skateboarding, and tag, all involving degrees of physical contact that would be considered assault on most civilized worlds. "By the 7 moons," whispered Vex Thor, "we've admitted Deathworlders to the Alliance." The term hung in the air. Deathworlders, species that evolved on planets so inherently hostile that their physiology developed extreme durability and aggression just to survive. Theoretical xenobiology included such classifications, but no actual Deathworld species had been encountered in the Alliance's history. Until now. "Sir," Trillium interrupted, his skin a worried puce, "the humans are requesting Officer Krill's presence at their diplomatic headquarters, and with legal representation." Vex Thor's upper appendages clutched reflexively. "Have they declared their intentions?" "They want to apologize." A confused silence fell over the Scientific Council. "I must have misheard," Vex Thor said finally. "The humans wish to apologize?" "To Officer Krill? The one who struck their juvenile?" "Yes, sir. Apparently the child Max Cooper has insisted on it. He says, and I quote, 'It's not the alien dude's fault he doesn't understand Earth stuff.'" Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the news of human physiological capabilities was spreading with alarming speed. The Flavorian battle fleet, previously deployed in response to the incident, quietly reversed course when their scientists reviewed the data. 3 previously hostile species suddenly expressed interest in alliance with Earth rather than conquest. The Zarbonian hegemony, renowned for their toughness, requested cultural exchange programs focusing on human military training. As Officer Krill was escorted to the human diplomatic headquarters, The strategic balance of the galaxy was shifting in ways no one had anticipated, all because a lanky alien had slapped a small boy and discovered that humans were, by galactic standards, nearly indestructible. The meeting room at Earth's diplomatic headquarters featured an absurdly large table that, Vex-Thor suspected, was chosen specifically to intimidate. Humans might be physiologically impressive, but their psychological warfare needed refinement. Officer Krill sat stiffly in a chair designed for human proportions, his long limbs folded awkwardly. Across from him sat Max Cooper, now dressed in ordinary human attire, but wearing a necklace made from a bent antenna salvaged from his costume. Captain Brenner cleared his throat. This informal gathering is to resolve the incident between Officer Krill of the Galactic Peacekeeping Initiative and Max Cooper of Earth. Max has requested this meeting. Max leaned forward. I wanted to say sorry for rolling my eyes at you. My mom says it's disrespectful, and I didn't know it was super offensive to your people. Krill's translator processed this, and the alien's posture shifted minutely. Your apology is unexpected. In my culture, such an insult would require ritual combat to resolve. That sounds awesome, Max enthused. Can we do that instead? I know karate. Well, I took 3 classes before Mom said I was using it too much on my brother. Commander Vex-Thor intervened before things could escalate further. Perhaps a cultural exchange would be more appropriate. Officer Krill could explain Klaxian customs, and young Max could explain human resilience. You mean why the slap didn't hurt? Max grinned. That was nothing. One time I fell out of a tree and broke my arm, and the bone was sticking out and everything. It was so cool. I got a cast and everyone signed it. The aliens exchanged disturbed glances. The casual description of compound fracture as cool confirmed everything their scientific analysis had suggested. Humans are quite durable, Brenner explained diplomatically. Our children particularly so. They bounce back from injuries that would incapacitate adults of many species. Fascinating, Krill noted, genuine scientific curiosity overriding his earlier discomfort. Is this why your entertainment media features such extreme physical comedy? Our cultural analysts were perplexed by something called the Three Stooges. Max laughed. That stuff's fake. Well, mostly fake. But yeah, getting bonked on the head isn't a big deal for humans. Is it different for your people? And just like that, the diplomatic crisis transformed into the kind of cultural exchange the mission had originally intended. Max peppered Krill with questions about Klaxian physiology, while the officer responded with increasing animation, his scientific training evident in his detailed explanations. By the end of the meeting, amendments to the Earth Alliance Treaty were already being drafted. These included provisions for physical contact protocols, cultural gesture registries, and perhaps most importantly, recognition of human physiological exceptionalism. The final ceremony took place 3 days later on the White House lawn. Officer Krill, now something of a celebrity himself, formally presented Max with an honorary membership in the Galactic Junior Peacekeepers, a program that had not previously existed, but he was hastily created to smooth over the incident. In recognition of your contribution to interspecies understanding, Krill announced, placing a holographic badge on Max's chest, and your exceptional tolerance for physical correction. Inani. The assembled dignitaries applauded politely, while the media captured the moment for posterity. The commander Vex-Thor, watching from the sidelines, felt his skin settle into a satisfied blue. A most unexpected outcome, he commented to Captain Brenner. From diplomatic disaster to strengthened alliance. Brenner nodded. Humans have a saying, kids say the darndest things. Sometimes they also do the darndest things, like turning an interstellar incident into a friendship. As the ceremony concluded, High Counselor Zephyr approached Vex-Thor with an uncharacteristically humble demeanor. The Council has reviewed your report on human physiology, he said quietly. Is it true what your scientists claim? That these humans evolved on a planet that would kill most sentient species within hours? Completely accurate, Vex-Thor confirmed. They consider their world mild despite radiation levels, atmospheric contaminants, and gravitational forces that would require environmental suits for most Alliance species. and they willingly consume neurotoxins for pleasure. They call it coffee. Apparently their workday hasn't properly begun until they've ingested it. The High Councillor's complexion paled. The Strategic Committee has reclassified Earth from minor protectorate to critical military ally. All previous colonization inquiries regarding their solar system have been permanently suspended. Bexthor nodded sagely. A wise decision, Councillor. In the background, Max was demonstrating his karate skills to a horrified group of Flavorian diplomats. While Officer Krill recorded the movements for what he described as scientific purposes, but what everyone understood to be evidence of why nobody should mess with humans. The galaxy would never be the same, all because an alien slapped a human child and learned that humanity, despite its friendly demeanor and relatively small stature, it was not to be trifled with. As humans themselves might say, lesson learned.